And welcome back.
Hello, welcome to the channel. It is October 5th today, and our topic is words can't be unsaid.
Mm-hmm.
Zeno says, better to trip with the feet than with the tongue.
Better to tread?
Trip.
Trip. Better to trip? Oh, I see. Trip like fall.
Yeah.
I see. Like I'm not like taking a trip. So trip with your feet is better than tripping with your tongue. Well, yeah, because once you say something that's you now have to like, if you even realize that you said something stupid, right? Like if you realize it, then it's still a lot of work to get back to some wherever the trust were right before you said something dumb, right? Well, not dumb, but maybe like because dumb is dumb is okay because we're dumb, but something hurtful like something like some nasty opinion about something, right? Like something hurtful.
And so, I mean, really what I'm taking from this is like, I have to be curious about what impact my words have on others. Because it can be really easy to be like, no, I didn't say anything wrong. This other person is just taking it wrong. Or it's the other person's fault for...
Trip. Mm-hmm. Keep going, sorry.
Okay. Like it's the other person's fault for like understanding things in a certain way or taking things in a certain way. But it's like, no, like that's useful information that they're taking it this way. And I need to be curious about the impact that just created on them. And I need to be dedicated instead of getting pissed off that the other person is doing something, understanding what I said in a certain way, I should actually be curious about it.
Mm-hmm.
And I should be like, well, what can I learn about how I can communicate differently next time so that the impact changes?
No. The curiosity is a lot of time missed because we are curious about what we are about to say and what the other person says back. We're not curious about that because we're thinking about our logic and come back and continue the conversation in some sort of way where our agenda is also covered. I'm not saying it has to be overwhelming and no, but we are also represented. And if we also wanted to be represented, then we are thinking about ourselves, right? And so that this is really saying put yourself aside and be more interested and be curious about what this other person is actually saying, not getting reactive with the words that the person said, right? So that's on the receiving end of it, right?
Right, but if you are the person
who's saying
it,
yes,
there has to be the responsibility of I said these words. Maybe these words were not an exact representation of what I'm going through or what I'm feeling. That's on me then to like re-communicate this in a way that is more honoring that. Like if what I'm saying is producing a reaction in somebody that the other person is getting irritated or frustrated or angry or something like that, I can't just be like, oh, that's their problem. No, they are reacting to something that I said. I said something, and maybe I didn't give enough information. Maybe I used a word that
yep.
is triggering something in them that is not like the best thing. And like, so now I need to be curious about how can I say this differently? How can I say this in a way that's going to produce a different impact in this person?
So that's after you say something.
Well, yeah, I mean, I want to be as clear as I can before, but like I'm gonna mess up. Like I'm just like I already know that
it's not realistic for you to like go through concepts in your mind before you start speaking it out. That's ridiculous.
Well, I mean, sometimes it's like
if you're making a presentation for people, it sounds good. But if
I mean,
I'm just having
moment.
if I'm just having a conversation with a neighbor, like I'm not gonna call him an asshole, so don't trip on you or something like that, right? Or even if my neighbor did something bad, I wouldn't go to him and be like, you son of a, right? Like I wouldn't have that reaction where I'm tripping over my tongue that I have to then take it back, right? No, I would be like, hey, I want to address this or da 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 da. But I can see that me addressing it and not thinking about it ahead of time might cause a reaction in the neighbor, and now it's a fight.
When you don't think about it ahead of time, you run the risk of tripping.
Right, but now you're in the meeting, right? And then your boss is like, "Hey, what do you think about this?"
You don't always have the luxury.
Well, I need to now take 15 minutes to think about it, and then I will get back to you. Like, so I see the other point of it, right? Like I understand what they're saying, but I also see the other side of it is just like it's unrealistic to ask people to think about everything they're about to gonna go say, right? Because there's also something in there, like what I'm doing right now. I haven't thought of this, what I'm saying right now. It is coming out as I'm saying it. Now, yes, I have to be careful so I don't trip and say something weird, but that does happen, right? Because if I'm operating from this like, hey, it's just unveiling, and I'm using my logic, common sense, and good heart, and trying to keep the community, yourself and myself, represented in these conversations, then why should I have it all prepared before I start saying something? Like that just seems like if I have to operate like that, that would be like I don't know how to operate like that. You know what I mean? It's very like. Because the thing is, I might sit there for 15 minutes, think about it, and then go start interacting, and then the interaction goes completely differently than how I was trying to prepare, right? So then I'm saying, like, why the hell am I preparing if the outcome of it is completely unknown, right? Why don't I just get involved and be interested in, now there is this thing, be interested in the other people, right? Like, hey, where are you coming from? Where are you coming
Or interested
from, right?
in how they react to what you put on the table. And it's like, hey, I accept the fact that I'm going to mess this up when I go to say something. I accept the fact that I'm going to mess this up.
I like that approach. I like, hey, no, keep saying whatever you need to, and if you trip, fix it.
Yeah, take responsibility for it.
Because this whole thing says don't trip. Right? Essentially, it says don't trip. So then avoid tripping. Right? Okay, well then how do I do that? Well, I have to think about everything before I say it. Well, that's not a good solution for me personally, right? I get that you operate like this, so I don't want to say for you this doesn't work. No, for you this might work.
I don't do this 100% of the time.
Yeah, but you do it a lot more than I do, for example, right? Like a lot more, because I am literally just spitting it out.
Right. I do it because I want to be careful about it so that I can have better and better impacts over time.
I think about a lot about what to say after I trip. I notice I tripped, and now I go, okay, I need to fix this. What do I say? How do I approach this so it's not continuous tripping with this person or with this group? No, how do we come back to apologizing, the Gendlin, apologizing not just here but deep down here, like, hey, like, would you accept my apology? I really, right? And that's when you can kind of come back to where you were, right? And then again, we constantly have to be aware of the tripping. But I don't know if the solution is to think about all of these things beforehand. That's just my thing.
I mean, you're gonna be in situations.
So I'm right on my end, right? You think?
Because you're going to be in situations.
And your end is different, so you are right on your end too. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not saying that someone shouldn't do it or someone should do it. Somebody might say, well, if I would just open my mouth and start yapping, I'm gonna say so many stupid shit, stupid things that I don't want to go through the agony. But I don't consider myself that. Like, I consider myself, like, when I'm going into conversation, you are represented in there. Like, I'm approaching conversations with saying, I am represented here, but
But
you
they
are
might,
also.
and they might not necessarily feel that, and they might have a reaction in a certain way, and
Yeah,
he might be like,
and I have to
I
clarify.
accidentally tripped here.
I
Let me
have to
fix
clarify
it.
that yes, you are also here, and your things also matter the same way as my things matter. So we are both represented here, and let's talk from that standpoint, right? Because the second we're like, no, it's me, it's my me. Now you're your thing. Now we can't have a conversation.
Well, when you're interested in the impact that your words have on somebody else, then that person is automatically represented in your point of view.
Yeah, when you're asking them about their point of view, they're instantly.
But I'm not even saying like asking them about their point of view.
Not point
I'm
of
saying
view,
like
what
they have a
going through.
reaction.
What they're going through. You were interested in them. You're interested in them when they're going through something that's not fitting, right? Something got tripped, right? And now there is a transfer, right? Okay, like the conversation was calm and nice, and now it's a little heated and little agitated, right? Something happened there that needs to get addressed right away. Because if it doesn't, then now we're not representing both parties. Now we're each representing ourselves, and that continues into more separation, right? Less cohesiveness, less understanding, less all of that stuff. So the transformation between we're having a nice conversation. Now I said something that triggered you. I have to go into your trigger. Have to. Otherwise this will never fix itself, right? It's just gonna be like, this person is an asshole and I never want to talk to them again. Boom, done. Close the book on that person, right? Like that's also a way of dealing with it, right? I have dealt with it like that. I'm with different people. I didn't have this knowledge or this kind of approach of like, hey, I want to be the judge. I'm not here for me. I'm here for the situation. I want to look at the situation and make sure that both parties are represented. Yes, somebody might be right, somebody might be wrong, but I want to understand it, not just say my piece or my side of things and then be like, well, you take it or leave it. Like, no, I don't want to do that. I've done that like that. And then you can't really build good relationship like that, you know? Yeah. And actually those relationships get strengthened on fixing the trips. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, when they're truly fixed, yeah.
Yeah, truly fixed. Oh, nobody's talking about some fakery. yeah. Like, hey.
Yeah.
No,
I think
truly
we run into trouble when we say something that
like truly understandable, right? Like fixed. Sorry, keep going.
Yeah. We run into trouble when we say something that we don't intend to be hurtful to somebody else. Mm-hmm. Nonetheless, it hurts somebody else. Mm-hmm. And then we say, you are misunderstanding this.
Yeah.
That is not representing both people there.
No.
That is saying, I'm entitled to say this however I want to say this, mm-hmm. even if it hurts you. And I don't care the impact that it has on you. And it's not my job to fix it. Mm-hmm. And what I'm getting from this, and like what is sinking in very deep right now, is my impact on somebody else, mm-hmm. however I've chosen to say it, is absolutely 100% my responsibility to fix.
Yes.
I need to find a different way of saying it.
And it's hard to do when let's say I say something and then the person has a reaction, right, to me, to what I said, mm-hmm. right? And now I might go, oh no, you're misunderstanding. It's something else, right? That's not what I'm saying. It's this, like I'm trying to clarify something, right? But now I'm already not attending to you. So now you have the right to be whatever how egoistic you want to be on your end. You now say, well, he's egoistic, so I can represent myself. He's representing himself. He's not interested in my reaction that I had. Right? My reaction is, no, that's not what it is. Let's say I say something, right? And the reaction back is, no, that's not what it is. That's not how it is. It's like this. And I go, well, that's not what I was saying. I was trying, right? So I already
that's
see. That's
not what I was trying to say.
Yes, but I already see your reaction not being interested into what I'm saying. There's you were saying, I'm saying something, and then you have a reaction. Well, you're not interested in what I just said because you have just a reaction to it, right? You're not actually trying to connect with me on what does he mean by that, right? Look, no, you're just like, he meant this, right? And now I'm not interested in your thing, right? Because what you said is like, you're not interested in what I said. You're just saying your narrative, and now I'm saying that's not the narrative. That's incorrect. So now we're in this, right? So it's. And when it happens, it's that first one. Somebody starts saying something and the other person has a reaction.
Right, but I'm not in control of the other person.
Yes.
So then my next thing after that cannot be, you are misunderstanding me. My next thing after that needs to be, oh, I'm not communicating this the way that clearly enough because this isn't the type of understanding that is getting at the bottom. So it's
not about the person who's not who.
It's not about anybody else except for me because I'm not in control of anybody else except for me.
Right. But I say something and I have this reaction to it. So I'm not. I already see that person who's having this reaction is not interested in what my point is.
Yeah, that's.
They're just interested in their point and proving me that my point is wrong. That's why they're reacting so.
Well, they understand your point in a certain way that's maybe not even the way that you were, and so it's like,
that's
okay,
why the words
how
you
can
might not be understanding what I'm trying to say. Let me explain again. But then that's already fight.
Well, right, because you're putting the responsibility on them to understand you instead of putting the responsibility on yourself to say, let me re-communicate this. Yes. Let me try this a different way.
And so you're saying that if you have a reaction to something that I say,
that's on, okay, if I have a reaction to something that you say, that's on me. And I need to be interested in that, but you don't have control over whether or not I'm interested in that. I might be interested in it depending on the day, depending on the wherewithal that I have in my head. I might be your boss who's never interested in that. You know what I mean? So, but you don't have control over that because I'm me. And
I just have control of what I do with it.
Right.
So I can quit, or I can have a different relationships, or I can do something with it to, this person doesn't want to work with me. Like that's how I'm a lot of times I'm looking at it because I say something and it has a visceral reaction to I said, and there's no question.
That's an assumption that you're making that this other what's going on in this other person's mind or something.
Right,
so
but that's what I'm saying. Like if they're not interested in it, then it's hard
but even
for me.
You saying that they're not interested is already an assumption because maybe they are interested and they just have a behavioral pattern of like I always say it like this. That doesn't mean that I'm not interested in that.
Right. So it's like so my conversations with those people are then like I say something, they have a visceral reaction, and I just need to buckle down and don't worry about what I just said, but go into understanding their visceral reaction where I am now being told that I'm a idiot for saying something, right? So I'm like, okay, well, I'm gonna ignore that you're reacting this way. So like, right?
Well,
like
not
I have to
shut down, but it's like, hey,
I have to somehow get over there, right? Because otherwise, I'm reacting to that reaction, and how am I gonna react to it? Well, with my mirror neuron, so I'm gonna also get elevated, right? And so that's what I'm saying. It's an elevation. What that is called is a fight or some sort of misunderstanding. So then there's continuous misunderstanding.
So what I'm saying
is no one wants to come back and say, let's clear this, right?
So what I'm saying is that when I am in that in your, I don't want to talk about you, and I don't want to talk about other people. I want to talk about me. So it's like
it's not you and me.
When I'm in that situation where I said something, somebody else is now having a reaction to it. And I notice it and I'm like, ooh, like this isn't what I was trying to communicate here. Like they're understanding this in a totally different way than what I was trying to communicate. Right. Now it is my responsibility to say, oh, let me try this a different way.
Right. And so I'm saying, oh, you might not be understanding this. Let me try it a different way. But me just saying the words, you may not be understanding me.
That doesn't sit.
that is now somehow that doesn't sit well with the person
Yes.
who didn't have control over their reaction. So it's like, okay, Jesus Christ.
Sounds like you're blaming them for not
right,
understanding.
but that's the thing. Like I would love to have these kind of conversations with people, but that to me is like I am the one who then has to always.
You are yes, and that is what this is. I am always the one who has to change. I cannot ask them to change. I have to change.
No matter if they're yelling at me, they're
Yes.
calling me names. I have to be the one who somehow rises above it or something.
Yes.
Or yeah.
It's a
And
hard pill
I
to
can't,
swallow.
and I can't rise above it currently. I want to rise. I want to concentrate on fixing this thing, right? And so I want to say the second that transfer happens, I go like, okay, transfer happened. We need to go back, but that's no longer interested. There's no interest into fixing it from the other person's point of view. So all I then have to do is like, okay, I have to be like Gendlin. I'm just going to be here and repeat everything you say, and I'm really interested in what you have to say. Even though I started this conversation with, hey, I want to talk to you about something. I say something, right?
Right. So
and then bad reaction to it. I can no longer talk about this. I now have to talk about your bad reaction.
I don't think that's
the
only option.
Not in the way that like it's bad. No, I have to now be understanding in your reaction and all this other stuff.
Right.
So my intent of saying something, this whole thing goes on the back burner.
But I don't think you have to go into their reaction. You can acknowledge, oh, we're not on the same page here.
So couldn't let's say, but if you're saying couldn't you were saying couldn't you go into? My question is the same then for the other person. Couldn't you react to what I'm saying?
I'm only talking about it because you're sharing that you are having this issue and you're trying to get to the bottom of it.
It's not, yeah.
So, ultimately, no, if I'm in your shoes, it is my responsibility, and I would look at this and I would say, no, I don't need to go now be this person's therapist. If I started the conversation to communicate something and they had a bad reaction to it, and clearly I know in my head that we're not on the same page and this was not what I was trying to communicate.
Yeah, then I tried to stop.
Now it's my job to say, oh, how can I try this a different way? I don't need to go be their therapist. I don't need to stop the conversation. I don't need to punish myself. All I need to do is be like, oh, they're not getting this. They're getting something else. Who knows why? Maybe it's the words I chose. Maybe it's the tone of voice.Maybe it's the speed at which I'm talking. It could have been any of these things. It could be the fact that they're distracted because they're in a fight with somebody else and like they're
because I have like everything you're saying I agree with, but I only see this as like that's my job and nobody else in my life has to take this responsibility for themselves. They can just be assholes. And I just have to deal with them. That sucks, dude.
Well,
like I don't like it. Like they don't want to change. They don't want to adjust to. So we at some point don't have these kind of.
Well, who are you talking about?
There's a bunch of people. I don't want to go into specifics. But like there's a handful of people that
so
have these kind of things, and I'm like, okay, I just have to shrug my shoulders. I'm like, I'm sorry, that's not what I meant. And now you're being aggressive, so I can't, like that's my reaction currently. I say I'm walking away without walking away, right? I'm saying let's maybe reconvene about this conversation
the
some
whole thing
other time.
About stoicism is you don't control other people, you control yourself.
Yeah, so then ultimately walking away is the thing, because that's all I have control over is get up and leave.
But you also have control to try again. To try.
But not if the people are continuously telling me that that they're elevated at me, right? And so now I'm trying to apologize to this person who's angry or something. Like it just seems so like why can't also that person realize that and come down a little bit.
They're also on their own journey and are probably trying to improve in their own way, in their own time.
I understand that they are on their own. They're going through their own thing. Everybody's responsible for their own thing. I understand it. So then what I'm saying is that if that's what it is, there will be some relationships that I just have to walk away from.
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, that's great. Yeah, because I think that I shouldn't be walking away. I think that walking away from a conversation or from a disagreement is cowardly, and I need to stick there to get my point of view that is completely misunderstood by this other person. I was not saying A, B, C. I was saying X, Y, Z, but they're understanding A, B, C. So it's like, well, that's not what I was saying. So I have to say that, or I should say, let me try it some different way.
Yes,
or
let me try it a different way.
Let me try it a different way, right?
Because sometimes when you and I have misunderstandings, for example,
Yeah.
and then you clarify it down, like, let's say we have a few volleys back and forth, and then you're like, well, this is what I'm trying to say. But the way you say it in that few volleys, totally different language, totally different information.
Yeah, and the people who I'm saying that to are not interested to continue to listen to me until I come to them with the actual
because
thing.
Because sometimes the initial way that it comes out feels aggressive. So then there's a reaction to like, oh, I'm reading a tone of voice. I'm reading
confidence, maybe.
Confidence or anger or frustration.
No,
I'm reading.
Mostly it's confidence.
I'm
because it's like,
reading
well, you're asking me about something simple that I've done 30 times, so I'm like, yeah, it's like this, right? But like, you know what I mean?
I mean, every situation's different.
Of course,
but like,
of course. But it's not anger, or it's not like
frustration.
No, I'm just like, hey, this is what it is.
But every situation's different, right? So what I'm saying is that in misunderstandings that you and I have, I know that sometimes the way it's initially communicated, the language, the tone of voice, and the information that you are giving me is not the same as...
So this is about me? Or is this... Because now you're saying things about me. Like you were saying, oh, I want to talk about what I'm going through or something. But now you're saying
I'm explaining what's going on.
Now you're telling me that you have a reason to react in a certain way.
I'm explaining how it happens.
Yeah, how it happens. Yeah.
I'm not justifying it. I'm not saying one thing is right or wrong.
Who were like, maybe it reminds you of somebody who was speaking with you in a certain way like that or something, and then now that's triggering you. Even though I don't consider it like, I'm considered like, what? We're having a nice conversation, but like to your ears, it might be sounding like
nice, or
it might be
sound
like somebody's
and
yelling at you.
And this is why I'm saying, like, for me, in this kind of thing, I need to be interested in no matter what a nice conversation I might be trying to have, I don't know how it's going to be received by the other person. And so if the other person is taking it in a weird way or in an aggressive way or something, I can't do anything about that. But what I can do is say, oh, I can try to communicate this differently. Yes. I cannot put this on them that they misunderstood me.
Yes, but
I can take this on me and say, let me try to communicate this in a different way and see if I can get more success here.
Yes. So I understand that. That would be like if you were with like an ideal person, like that's what that person would do.
But I'm saying that this is my lesson for me today because I am the only person that I have control over. And so what am I taking from today's lesson? I can't take it. I cannot take the lesson of, wouldn't it be great if other people did this? I have to let other people be
I'm not actually,
who they are.
I don't get agitated for like, because you are agitated. No, I get agitated because you're telling me that I'm telling you something wrong. And that is my life trauma in going through schools and no, you're wrong, like constantly wrong. Like, so now when I hear like, no, that's not what it is. That's not like it is. It's wrong. It's not like that. Like I get like trauma feelings inside of me from like, oh, fuck, I'm wrong again, man. Like, God damn it. Like, I can't explain this to her. Like, that's not what I meant. But now I'm getting this elevated thing. So I'm like I'm going through a lot of stuff there that is reminding me that I am, I consider myself stupid, right? And because I've been told that I was stupid for a long time as I was growing up, right? So I was like, this guy will never amount to anything, and this guy's kind of stupid. Well, he can probably be a digger of holes, like shit like this. Like throughout me growing up, I heard these kind of these kind of sentences, right? So when I'm saying something and the other person is not understanding, I'm going right back to like, yo, you're wrong. No, you're wrong. And it's like, but I'm not wrong. I'm just being misunderstood. And I'm like, now I'm having a hard time to explain it because I have this other reaction in me that I have to deal with, right? So it's like, there's a lot of stuff going on in there. And so it's very difficult for me to, in those times, to say, okay, this is not about me, it's about this other person. I have to now listen to a transfer happen. When transfer happens, it's on me to become the listener. I understand that. Without it, it's not gonna get fixed. My thing is that why am I the only one who always is interested in the transfer fixing? And
I don't think you are.
Maybe I'm not, but that's how it seems.
I don't think you are, and I don't think that having that point of view is like even helpful to you. Like, because it just is going to make you feel like irritated and resentful.
Yeah. Maybe.
Like you can't verify that somebody else is or is not interested without asking them and saying, do you even know what a transfer is? Do we have the same definition of this? We need to slow this down and like and this is why I'm saying like there's a different thing of like you don't necessarily need to become that person's therapist. If it's a misunderstanding, how can I say this differently? How can I communicate this differently?
Yeah. Well,
it doesn't need to be about.
But do you hear what you're saying? You're asking me to do something different. That's the same thing as I would be asking you to do something different. And going to you and saying, could you just react to it calmly?
I'm not trying to say that you should be doing it. I'm saying there's a different.
When I'm saying something, could you react calmly and then ask me questions to clarify? Right? This is similar ask, right? But I'm not asking you.
But I'm not trying to ask you right now.
I'm not asking you this, and I know that you're not asking me that.
I'm just
but
giving a different
the
option.
way you're sounding is like you should do this, and so I'm hearing, well, only I need to be doing a bunch of stuff, and the other people can be like assholes to me the entire time, and that's cool, right? Like no, that's not cool.
I'm not bringing this up because I'm exempt from this.
Mm-hmm.
I'm bringing this up because you are communicating I don't even know what to call it, but there's some friction that I am feeling from you in terms of how to actually start implementing something like this.
Yeah.
And so what I'm hearing from you is you're like, well, the only option is for me to now get interested in this other person and become their therapist. And I'm saying there's a different option here, which is try again. Whatever the communication was that just went off the rails.
So if I have that reaction, so let's say we reverse these roles, and now you're coming to me and you're saying something to me, right? That I'm not understanding.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna react to it in some sort of.
The first thing in my head is like, oh shit, he didn't understand me. I need to try to say this differently.
Well, okay. Well, yeah, maybe, yeah.
Like literally, that is the first reaction in my head.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
In most cases.
That's not my experience. So let me just say that. Like my experience is that if it's me, I'm still wrong. I'm still the one who is I still end up being the one who's not understanding, and then I don't get it, and then now we don't go to explain it to me. You know what I mean? We are also just walking away frustrated and all of that other stuff.
Well, because I don't always succeed
You don't have also the other option to say, hey, let me say this calmly differently. Look, no, that option is currently not being exercised.
Well, sometimes I do. So I'm trying my best, right?
Oh, sure.
I'm not perfect.
I'm not saying
I fuck it up all the time.
Well, I'm not blaming you for not doing something.
But
no, I'm just
a
saying
lot of
my
times I
experiences,
succeed.
yeah.
A lot of times I succeed.
Yeah.
There's a lot of times where I'm like, oh shit, like this didn't, that's not exactly what it was.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay, I need to try to say it again in a different way.
Mm-hmm.
And now we're on the same page. Great, moving on.
Mm-hmm.
But like that doesn't get tallied up here in this whole thing. What gets tallied up is all the times that I failed at it. So it's like, I'm not saying that I'm perfect at this, and I'm not even trying to like give you anything to do. I'm just reacting to like the you seem like very like not like that you don't like the current way that you know how to deal with this or something like that. Like,
well, no, I don't know how to deal with it.
right.
No, I just get sad, and I just get like, I blame myself for all of it pretty much, and I don't know how to. And now because I'm blaming myself, now I feel like, well, now I have to go apologize. But I'm like, but what am I apologizing for? I was trying to share something, and I got a visceral reaction to what I was sharing. But now it's up to me to go apologize. Like these are the things that I'm dealing with inside. You might not see them on the outside. But I have these reoccurring traumatic, you're stupid, you need to apologize, don't do this again, stop talking, you are aggravating this person. I am aggravating you, right? It's not that you're getting aggravated from something, how you're understanding it. You are saying you're aggravated because what I said, right? And so I feel like okay, well, if you're getting aggravated and I aggravated you, well, then it's me, right? But it cannot be me, it's you. But I never hear that. It's just, I always hear like how I could be trying it differently, or how I could be doing something differently so you don't have this reaction. So ultimately, you're asking me to learn how to be in certain ways so you don't have these reactions. But I'm not responsible for them. Right?
I don't see, like, I get what you're talking about, but like, that's not the story from my point of view. Like,
of course it's not. No. We're talking about our own.
Because
our own.
I'm not blaming you for any of my reactions. I might be saying like, this is so tricky to talk about. Like, I'm not trying to blame you for anything that's going on in me. I might be trying to communicate something similar to what I'm trying to communicate here, which is like, if you don't like the impact that your words have on other people, that is your responsibility to do something with. That doesn't mean that you are causing anything in that other person. And this is something that I need to learn. And I don't think that we can be happy or lead a good life without taking that responsibility fully unto ourselves. Because if we are always waiting for the other person to change, or to like just magically understand us, or to magically not react in a certain way, then our happiness is always going to be dependent on how somebody else chooses to show up.
Right.
And that's not sustainable. It's just not going to work.
Well, no, but nobody's. I'm not asking you to do something different. I'm asking, what do I do? I have like, I can walk away. I can become the therapist, the listening person of this person.
You can try again.
I can try again, but sure, I can try again
in a different way.
Try again in a different way. Mm-hmm.
Like that.
Even though this person is like pissed off or something. Yeah. Like you just stay
because
calm
you don't know why they're pissed off.
But I don't know how to stay calm when the other person is agitated. Like it hops on me. Like I just like, oh, this person is agitated. What the hell did I say? What's going on? What? Like I get also agitated from it, right? And I get agitated not from you. I get agitated because I didn't explain something in the way that it's understood. It's being told to me, not like, oh yeah, I get that, but what I'm thinking is like this. No. It's like, I don't understand what you're saying. And I'm like, but I'm speaking English. This is like, I don't know how to say it.
But it doesn't plug into the maps of meaning that the other person has.
Sure, of course.
And like, I get it. You have these trauma reactions, and like that, like, if you are sitting there, then it triggers the shame and the self-blame. I think that is at odds with being able to like learn and grow from an experience, because as long as we feel like a sense of shame or self-blame about something, I'm going to be in this self-punishing kind of state of mind where I can't actually get to that place of, ooh, let me try something differently, because let me try something differently is coming from a place of kind of curiosity. Like, I don't have that same like sense of self-blame when I fuck it up. Like when I fuck something up, I'm just like, oh yeah, like I wish that didn't happen. Like, ooh, like wouldn't it be cool if I already knew how to do this? Like, yeah, that would be cool, but like I don't have it doesn't bring up enough of that for it to take over my whole inner world. Like there's still this curiosity on top of it that's like, this is an opportunity for me to like try something a different way and learn and grow, and maybe I'll fuck up that new way too. That's okay. That's all part of this whole game of life. And I'm gonna keep going and keep fucking it up and keep fixing it, and eventually I'll get to a place where things are better most of the time. Like that's sort of like my mindset around it. I don't have that same sort of like trauma response that it brings up in me. So I appreciate that like you're sharing that with me, and I get it that like that would create that would make it difficult.
Yeah, it's difficult.
It would make it difficult to overcome. It's like, okay, on top of the fact that I need to try something new and different, I have to also overcome this trauma response that it's now.
Yeah, because the transfer in you, your misunderstanding, also then triggers more transfers inside of me where I go into completely different places where I'm imagining a teacher yelling at me or something.
Yeah.
Like
it's funny because like it's like you almost have to like put it on the other person to be like, you're misunderstanding me. Because in my head, I don't think that. I don't think the other person is misunderstanding me. I think all of the time I did not communicate this the right way, and now I get to re-communicate it. And part of that is exciting for me. Maybe it's because I like to write, and so I like to play around with words and different ways of saying things, and I felt how saying it one way versus
what
another.
What I'm really asking is like yeah, it's on me, so I just have to do it differently. I just have to have a different approach to it. Yeah, I just have to say it another way and differently or something. Yeah, like if it was up to me, I would ask for the other person to not have visceral reaction to what I'm saying as a first initial reaction, right? Because if that was, and again, I can't change anybody, right? So I get that. So that's just my kind of like a silly wish that I can never actually get granted, right? So I just might as well just forget that thing, you know? Yikes. Yeah. Yeah, I don't really think I have a next step except maybe it's on me to, when people don't understand me, it's on me to reiterate it again and again and again until they understand, without saying, oh, I don't think you understand me. I just have to say, let me say it again, instead of, oh, I don't think you understand what I'm saying, right? Like that, me saying, so question, why is it causing a visceral reaction in you when I say you're not understanding? What is
like
that
you're
sense?
blaming the other person. It sounds like you're blaming them. And so like then they're like, oh fuck, like it creates that whole like, oh fuck, I fucked it up. But like no, like and then it goes into this thing of like, no, I'm like listening to the words, I understand the words, like and then there's like this anger of like, well, couldn't be that this
I wish I changed to a person like that. I really do. Like I would be like, fuck you, it's you, it's on you, get the fuck out, it's your shit, I have my shit, you have your shit, bye. Like I wish I'm that person, right? Like hey, I don't have like I tried this, they're not getting it, I'm not gonna get all bent out of shape. I'd be like, no, you just be where you are, you know what I mean? Like I would rather be like that, right? Like having the like, no, it's okay that they're not understanding me. I just need to say it again, and if they continue to not understand, I just go do something else, right? Like being okay with them not understanding it and me just moving on. You know what I mean? Yeah.
I mean, but you shared it for a reason and for a purpose, and so it's like, okay, like if you're sharing it, presumably It's because you want to be on the same page about something.
Yeah, maybe. Or not even, no, not on the same page necessarily. Like that would be the most ideal, yes, but I don't know how to get there. So then I have to have these other mechanisms to protect the relationship from going sour, because of if I say you're not understanding me and that's wrong, then I need to say it like something else. I don't know what that is. Maybe I'm explaining it wrong. Okay, maybe that's the sentence. I'm explaining it wrong. Like
Yeah, it's like I
have to blame myself.
I have to take.
Yeah.
Well, and this is what I'm saying. It's like when it's there's such a fine line between self-blame and responsibility.
I just don't see this from really in my life. No one does this.
Right, because nobody's living.
I know, but
these
then
standards.
why are we preaching about it, right? Like if we're not doing it,
Are we preaching right now?
Well,
Because
are we
I think
preaching
we're like
to each other?
we're struggling to like figure this out.
But we are also saying like it's on you, it's on you, it's on you. You're telling me that it's on me.
I'm only saying it's on you because you're saying, well, I don't want it to be on me. So
Yeah, because when I see it that it's supposed to be on the other person, they're responsible for their own shit. They're not. They're completely. They're not. My reaction is it's still me. It's still my problem.
It's always me.
So if I don't understand, it's my problem. And if they don't understand me, it's my problem. That makes no sense logically, right? At some point, it has to be somebody else's fucking fault that they are communicating something that's not being understood here. That's their fucking problem. That's what you're saying, right? But that's not my experience.
If I am
is what
communicating
I'm saying.
something, it is my responsibility to make sure that my audience understands me. If my audience does not understand me, I can't blame them and say, you're misunderstanding me. No, I'm not communicating this the right way. I'm not using the right language. I'm not giving the right information. Like, yeah, it's 100% on me.
Yes, but what I'm saying is that my experience is that regardless of who is speaking, it's gonna be on me.
And I think that's true for if we choose to suit up for this work, that is each one of us will come to that realization of I am always the one who needs to change. As much as that curdles my stomach to have to swallow that, this is the only way that I can live a good life, is if I am the one who is always taking the responsibility to change. I can't do that if I'm full of self-critical thoughts and self-blame and shame. That is not the way that this is going to happen. That actually gets in the way. All of that shit gets in the way of me taking responsibility and being the one who changes and grows. I actually have to be full of self-acceptance, and I have to be very graceful with myself and forgiving with myself and understand that I'm going to fail and fuck this up. And then I can say it is 100% my responsibility at all times to learn and grow and change from this situation. And everything else is ultimately not my business.
Yeah, well, I mean, again, this all matches to how I would like to have my surroundings where I live. I would love to have this, that people take this responsibility on themselves.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
I mean,
I would love to.
You're saying that about me then, right? Because you're saying.
Well, I'm saying about you. I'm
live.
saying about a bunch of people, right? Like again, I don't want to be naming names, but I'm saying it about a bunch of stuff.
Right. So like, I'm not perfect at this, but this is how I am oriented.
It's not. This is not like you. I'm using you as an example because yes, we have that, but I have this with other people. Yeah. Yeah, it's like if in a conversation something is being misunderstood, I 9 out of 10 it's being like I did something wrong and I need to now adjust it or do something.
According to who? Are you saying this because you're...
According to the situation that's created, and I feel like I feel blamed. I'm not saying these people are blaming me. No. This is what I'm saying. This is the trauma that's inside of me that I blame myself. The second I hear someone says, that doesn't make any sense. Let's say that makes no sense. Well, okay, then you're not understanding what I'm saying, right? Like, no, don't say that. No, okay, like, let me try it some other way, right? But like, let me try it some other way is now after all the trauma feelings of like, you're a piece of shit and inadequate and you're an idiot, right? Right, so that's right after. So it's very difficult for me to get to the after because I have all this trauma, right? So unless I'm dealing with this trauma, which I am, but then it will be very hard for me to adjust my behavior when somebody's like telling me that I'm wrong, or they're like raising their voice, or just they're agitated or something like that. Like, that's very hard for me currently to say, oh, I can go past that trauma, don't worry about that. And then now I go, oh, how do I fix this? How do I apologize? How do I become a listener? It's very difficult for me to become a listener when inside of me I have voices of, you're an asshole, you're not good enough. This is a proof that you're not good enough. This is a proof that you're stupid, right? Because I said something that in my head made total logical sense, right? But now I'm being told that I'm wrong, or that's not how it is, right? And it's like, okay, well, that's if this is the reaction back, then what I said must not be the thing that I meant, right? Because that's not what I meant, right? A lot of this conversation ends up with that's not what I mean.
Right.
That's not what I mean
That's
at
what a
all.
misunderstanding
Like, I mean
is.
this, and I mean this, and I mean
Right.
this. Yes, but first it has to go through this big hump of agony or something, you know, this like kind of pissy moods and all of that other stuff before it gets to this clarity. Like, I'm trying to get to a place where that doesn't happen. We're just going into a nice, calm conversation. There are disagreements, and now we're walking away with the being smarter.
Right.
While the emotions are somewhat kept in some sort of
I don't think that
I'm not saying don't have reactions or don't have emotions. No, please do talk about them. Tell me how you're feeling. But raising your voice or like doing that kind of stuff, and it goes for me too. Like, I do the same thing, right? Like, I don't like it. I don't like it about myself, and I don't like when others do that to me, right? So I want to do everything I can so I don't do it, but then I don't know what to do when it's being done to me. I go into crazy places. Yeah, I go back to Slovakia, people in school yelling at me and telling me, go to the principal's office, right? Because you didn't do your homework and you're not understanding it, right? So now we're going to punish you for it or something. It's just like, oh God, like rolling my eyes, like, oh, I'm going to have to deal with this now. Like, this is, like, I see the carpet in the principal's office, like, when this is happening. Like, yeah. So, yeah, I don't know what we learned from this 55-minute conversation, but yeah.
Well, that trauma gets in the way.
Trauma gets definitely in the way, for sure. Yeah.
And I think you do get to that place where, like, hey, we're staying calm, we're understanding each other. You learn how to get to that place by fixing the things that if I fuck up something that I say and it's creating this visceral reaction in somebody else, now I learn to fix that, and now it calms that other person down. Like, that's what de-escalation is.
Yeah.
So, like, if I can learn how to do that, then maybe I can learn how to say it right the first time by going through the process of fixing it 100 times. Because
well, sure, yeah.
the way that
I mean, we're not done, right?
Done?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It just keeps going. So I'm just learning from every single.
But the only way to
interaction.
get there is to say, like, let me keep the responsibility on my plate, and I have to get over the stuff that gets in the way of, like, all that trauma. Like, that shit gets in the way, because if I am feeling ashamed, if I'm feeling like a piece of shit, that is going to stop me from taking responsibility.
Yes.
Actually,
Yeah.
it's gonna.
I know all this. Yeah. I mean, I've listened to Brennan Brown and those guys. Like I hear all these messages. It's different to go do it when you have these internal things going on. That's all. I understand the concepts of what would be most ideal if it was awesome. Yeah, but it's not awesome. Inside here is there are conflicts, you know. Yeah. So that's it.
And those conflicts get worked out at a separate time, you know.
Yeah. No, you can work on all that stuff. Like how I don't even know what causes that. Which of those traumatic experiences in my previous life has created this thing that I go in there? It's not one. It's not one of them. That's why I'm confused, because I'm trying to find this one thing that happened, and then that one thing causes all this. No. I was told, maybe not exaggerating, I would say, maybe 100 times in my life when I'm growing up, I was told that I'm just not cutting it or not good enough, I'm overhearing my teachers telling shit to my parents about like how terrible this kid is, and I wasn't doing anything. I just was having a hard time in school, like studying. Like it wasn't like I was some asshole like busting windows and shit, right? No, but these people are telling my parents what an awful human I am because I can't do my homework, right? So anyway, it's been a long thing. Yeah. Okay, let's do Ryan really quick and get this done.
Well, Ryan only has 2 sentences for us today, so it should be pretty easy. He says, "You can always get up after you fall, but remember, what has been said can never be unsaid, especially cruel and hurtful things."
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
Yeah, you might even say that, like, you are going through the fallout of cruel and hurtful things that have been said a long time ago, 30 years ago, and now it is proof that they cannot be unsaid, because words are actually what is creating the trauma responses in other people.
Yeah, and I don't have a place to go to seek apology from anybody. Or some sort of a clearance of how I can understand it differently, except like, a trauma therapist, I guess. So like, you know what I mean? There's no place to go to search for this one event. None of those events were so dramatic that I am like shaking or something, right? It's not like PTSD or something. No, but it's enough repetition of hearing the same garbage to the point that now I say that is who I am. Yeah, this is probably my biggest struggle in life, to move forward in some sort of a way, because like I sometimes want to go much faster than I'm going. I want to go faster, but I'm saying I can't go faster because like I don't trust myself that if I go fast, I'm going to understand what I learned. So I'm like, no, I gotta slow down. So when I learn it, I know it. And then when I'm saying it to somebody, I know I'm saying something that I understand. And then when they're misunderstanding it, well, I get it. That's the whole conversation we had. We need to have a different thing. Oh, I said something stupid. Like Gentlin is perfect at this, because he says this, oh man, my bad. Like he's saying transfer, put it on yourself. Instantly. Like if there's a transfer, put it on yourself. But he's also a therapist inside of a therapy session, right? So it's not like we're just chit-chatting about, a tiles for a bathroom, and now this turns into a crazy thing, right? It's like, it's so unexpected, right? This is what I keep saying, like, if I have an hour session with someone, I can 100% put myself in the place of I'm listening. I'm not gonna be. If you don't understand, I will explain it again. It's a different. I'm being a different person during like some sort of like a session, like a focusing session or something, right? But if it's just like a chit chat, I forget that.
Like I'm a different, like it's a different thing. Like I'm almost like, well, you know, like I don't know, like it's almost like a different job or something. And then when I come out of it, I like forget that I keep believing that that's only done over there and not in the everyday life. But I think that that's where it needs to go, right? Like it's ultimately everyday life. That's who I am. That's who I become. Someone who can put the transfer on themselves 100% of the time and say, "Oh no, I'm sorry, we're not understanding. Oh no." Again, see, I'm not a. See, like I want to say the word understanding in there, right?
In my head, I turn understanding into communicating. Like I'm not communicating this the right way.
I'm not communicating this the right way. Yeah.
But that doesn't bring up shame for me. You know what I mean? Like I can say that and have it feel okay, and then I can try something new. So it's like it's different if saying that internally is creating this whole thing of the trauma response.
Yeah, I'm all out.
Yeah, me too.
Okay, cool. See you guys later.
Yeah. See you tomorrow.